How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the homestead. Winter's definitely in the air. We have a little bit of snow in the forecast. Not anything too major, but eventually we will be getting some serious snow, and that means we need to get the snowplow on the quad. But before we do that, there's a couple steps we need to take. Number one, we need to remount the mount for the snowplow. It's a pretty important piece if you ask me. The other thing that we need to do is replace the winch cable with a snow strap. What is a snow strap? Well, if you've ever plowed snow using an ATV or a side-by-side, you probably know that your winch cable snaps pretty often. And the reason for that is as you're raising and lowering the plow, and as that winch cable is having to make that super sharp angle, it's just wearing on it over and over again, eventually leading to fraying, which eventually breaks the cable. This flat section of 1-inch webbing, which runs down to a little piece of synthetic cable, is supposed to prevent that. That's the hope. And being as my winch cable is on its very last leg, like literally we're talking the last couple feet, it was either replace the winch cable or put one of these guys on. So I have a winch cable for springtime, spring, summer, fall, and then this for wintertime. So without any further ado, we're gonna get this bad boy up on the ramps and get to work. And don't forget to chalk one of the rear wheels. Hopefully you could see me all right. I tried to make the lighting as decent as I could. This piece of metal down here is the mount for the snowplow. It's held on by a pair of U-bolts. You want it held on by a pair of U-bolts instead of directly mounted to the frame, like welded to the frame, because this is a wear point. These are meant to wear out. You don't want it welded to the frame because every time you hit a snowbank or hit an obstruction, that's just gonna cause undue wear to the frame. And if or when this eventually fails, your frame is failing instead of a U-bolt. But the problem with that is these fail a couple times a season, and you also wanna make sure that going into a new season that you replace them. And you may be able to tell that it is definitely time to replace them because this is only being held on by a zip tie and a single very worn out U-bolt. But it's not gonna be too much work to get this off and get it back on. Old U-bolt, new U-bolt. So all I'm gonna do is put these U-bolts right where they're supposed to go, leave them hanging like that. And I'll put a picture of where this is on the quad so that you can get a little better view. And then you can take your plate, if you forgot where center is, because there's more than just two pairs of holes here, you can look for where the either washer, or in this case, whatever this plate thing is, you could see where that was wearing, or on the other side, you can kind of make out where the frame went. So you gotta take this, start with the first side, make sure that you're getting it in the right spot. One hand holding it. This is definitely easier to do with a partner or with a big clamp or something. I'm sure you can make this easier for yourself. Unfortunately, oh, that was easy. Sometimes these threads are a little tough to get started. Lock that first nut up. There we go. Lock this second nut up. All right, and that's good enough for now. Obviously it's not tightened, but we don't need it tightened yet because I was looking for this guy. That was dumb. We just want to make sure that everything is going to line up and fit properly, because if not, like that right there, I was going to tighten it up in the wrong spot. But here we're able to just double check everything, make sure that it's right. And then two, this side now is holding this end up, or this side is holding this side up. So I'm having to put a lot less effort into holding this side up to get it screwed on. Hopefully it's making sense. I'm just tightening this side up finger tight. Now you may have noticed that on this side I used the plate washer thing from the old U-bolt, and that's because the threads were a little bit too short. They didn't go all the way up as high as I needed them to go in order to tighten these down. I think this side, the one that I'm working on right now, is long enough. It looks like it is. I can't tell. We shall see as I'm tightening it up. Now all we got to do is tighten everything down. There we go, it's tight enough. Then I am gonna back them up with the old nuts off of the old U-bolts. And I'm sure you guys can tell that these U-bolts are a little overly long. I didn't buy them this long intentionally. This is the only width that would fit with my plow's mount that was available at the hardware store. So I had to go with this length. But since we already got this nut on, we can trim this side up a little bit, either using an angle grinder or a master key. There we go. The mount is on there. It's as solid as it needs to be. Now we're going to shift gears to removing the old winch cable, replacing it with the brand new Snowstrap. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the rollers. That's going to make it a little bit easier to get this old cable off of here. And there is a nut on the back here. It's not like it's bolted directly into a thread or anything. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, especially since these are kind of seized. I did attempt to get these to move. The other issue is I have this plastic cover right here that really isn't doing me any favors, and the less stuff I can remove, the easier it's going to be. At least that's the theory. All right. First nut and bolt are off, and I think I'm just going to be able to loosen the next one and then kind of shift the rollers out of the way instead of having to remove them entirely. So I just loosened that right side up enough to get that roller out of the way for us. And now, with the winch on free spool, we're just gonna pull the cable out. You could also definitely turn the winch on if you want to. I just don't have the arm's reach to get there. Definitely watch out for jaggers while you're doing this. Now that we have that little bit of cable unspooled, we just have this little Allen key that's inside there. And I think this is the right size wrench that I need. Let's see. Yep. Wanted to make sure I wasn't stripping it. I'm not gonna do it all the way. Just hoping that I can get it loose enough. There we go, perfect. Now we're gonna take the remaining part of the cable out, which I would estimate is probably about 6 foot. So I wasn't too far off on my initial estimation. Now, I'm gonna grab the Snowstrap. We're just basically gonna do the inverse. Now here's the issue. I got you really zoomed in, so I'm gonna have to try and do this best I can. If you noticed on the intro of this video, I had this set up like I normally would set up a cable. I thought this was the end that I would be using for the hook end, for this end. And that's probably just because I'm so used to changing out the cable version and never putting this guy on. So looking at this now, I'm thinking that I'm gonna have some issues. I did remove the vast majority of the duct tape that I had on here, but this was already pretty, this isn't like frayed beyond belief, but you could see how it's a little bit expanded. So I'm hoping that I'm able to just weave it through there. And I'm questioning which direction I should do this. So that little bit of duct tape is keeping it from going through. At least that's what it appears. So I'm going to take this off and then we will see if we can fit this without it. Move the camera a little bit lower so hopefully you can see what's going on. I took off almost all the duct tape. There's a pretty good opposite of good frayed section about this far down. If I can't get it with how it is now, what I'll probably do is cut it below that section and reassess from there. But yeah, we got it. Let's see. I think I'm gonna need to grab some pliers probably because my fingers are not quite long enough. Actually, what I'll do, let's roll this way. Slowly but surely. This free spool is not very easy on this guy. Then I should be able to grab it this way. Let's try it this way. There we go. Now I got it. Okay. I'm gonna pull a decent bite. I don't want to use it all up because if this cuts or breaks for some reason, I want to be able to use this over a couple times, so I'm leaving myself enough spare. Then, come back around. We're going to roll this back the other direction. All right. I'm gonna do that a little bit loose because I just now thought of the fact that I'm not totally sure if this metal piece will fit through the roller. And it will. Perfect. Awesome, awesome. That's tightened down. Okay. Now, feed that through there. We're going to tighten this up, and then we're going to reel this bad boy in. All right. I think that's about as tight as I'm going to get it. Let's get this thing on the drum. I guess it'd be good if I turned off the free spool. Now I'm pretty sure this is going on perfectly flat, but I just want to double check. Yep, looking good. Looking good, looking good. Cool. Well, actually, let me turn this guy off. Now we're just going to put this hook on the end of Snowstrap. Just like so. Last thing we need to do, hook up the snowplow.
bottle jacks, and scissor jacks. Useful for more than just your car.
That's all I got for you in this one, you guys. Hopefully it was informative if you're trying to do something like this with your ATV or side-by-side. It's a pretty simple process. These snowplows are pretty simple to install. You know, don't take this video as gospel. Do a little bit more research before you go out and buy one of these units yourself. But as I showed, it's not rocket appliances after all. If you did enjoy it, if you did find it informative, please leave it a like and share it with someone that you think also might enjoy it. And subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more Modern Mountain Man project videos throughout the winter time, as I have a lot more downtime and I'm not going to be working out here with all the white stuff on the ground. So subscribe if you're interested in that. Comment down below if you have any comments or questions. I will do my best to answer those questions. And with that, thank you for watching. Think for yourself, shoot straight, and I will see you next time.